Welcome to the Holy Shit, I'm Healing podcast, powered by Whispers Bridge. Raw talks on recovery, spirituality, and becoming someone you actually like.
Series 3, Men Rising, Finding Their Way Through Sobriety, Episode 2, The Emotional Awakening. In this episode of Holy Shit, I'm Healing, we sit down with Chuck, a man who's been a guiding force in my 14-year recovery, to talk about emotional sobriety, what happens after the chaos calms, and how we learn to feel again. We explore how to stay grounded through life's emotional storms, the power of connection, and the quiet strength it takes to evolve into who we're meant to be. You don't want to miss this one. Hey guys, I'm Casina.
I'm Tazia.
I'm Trisha.
And we are continuing our Men Rising series. This one is going to be super personal for me. We are talking about emotional awakening. And I have asked a very special person who has been a guiding force in my recovery the past 14 years. His name is Chuck. So welcome, Chuck. We thank you so much for being here.
Yay, Chuck.
Thank you for the kind words.
Oh my God, there's more to come. Did we
I
bring the
forgot the
tissues?
tissues.
Oh my God, she forgot the tissues.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
See, cat's right on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
it might be a tissue episode. We'll see.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. So before we go into the calm that comes after the chaos, we really want to get to know Chuck a little bit more. What started your journey in recovery? What got you there?
What got me here was I was dying of alcoholism and drug addiction, and very unhappy. And I thought my life was over. I was just dying of alcoholism and drug addiction. That's what got me here, and some grace. That was the thing.
Yeah. Thank God for the grace. I'm sure the dying part didn't look pretty.
No.
It wasn't dying gracefully. It was you
Right.
were dying, and
Right.
you had grace to find somewhere that can help. You know.
Yeah, and I think, and I've known it, since I came in because somebody pointed out that I'm very emotionally ill when I got here. Years of never dealing with life on life's terms and running and running and running, and that's how I ended up. You once said to me, most people in recovery, they're sensitive, but you said to me, you're super sensitive, and that's the truth.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
things
Though.
affect me very deeply, and it doesn't even have to be me. It could be somebody else or a situation, whatever. And, but I always knew from the very beginning of recovery that emotional sobriety is what it was all about, because I've seen many people not drink or drug for long periods of time with not a bit of emotional sobriety.
They're miserable too.
And I didn't want to be that person. It's been a quest of mine since I've been in recovery, and it started in the first year, I think,
Wow.
that I knew this way, because it says something about a vital spiritual experience in the book, and that always, it stuck in my mind. I thought it was too far off for me, but I've come to realize it isn't.
No. As long as we're honest.
And I've had those experiences over the years, and you've been part of them. You all have.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So what was it like when you first came in? I know you talked about how you did want to be this emotionally sober person. And I think it plays a huge role in what your recovery looks like today.
Right.
You're one of the most emotionally sober people I know, where you're not full of shit. He's not like, oh my God, I'm happy all the time. I'm so well all the time. That's not emotional sobriety.
Right.
You come in, I see you all the time, and it is where you are, how you feel, how to get through it, what you do to get past it, right? Like that, you've always been like that for as long as I've known you. So you could tell that was something that you really wanted for yourself because, fast forward years when I met you, that's exactly how I saw you. What was it like when you first got sober, though?
Well, I thought getting into recovery was just another sad consequence of my life. Not knowing that this is the beginning of a new life. I had somebody say that to me early on. You have a shot at another lifetime. And I've literally been in recovery half of my lifetime. So I did live that whole lifetime
Wow.
that guy said 37 years ago. And it astounds me, that it happened.
Yeah. Which half would you pick?
It was a lot of fun, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, living in today's world, and even going back when I first came, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Life is difficult, and emotional sobriety, it's sometimes fleeting, and it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes, and that's the part I had to learn, that it's not all there. It's
Or
not
forever or always.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Which goes back to the way we thought. Before we came in, it was good or bad, all or nothing, black or white. I want to be high all the time,
Right.
whether it's through spirituality or a
Right.
lot of cocaine
Right.
or a bunch of shots of vodka. Like it's leveling back out to emotional sobriety is knowing that it's not always going to be a high.
Right.
I think that in and of itself is.
That just being conscious, because I was unconscious for so many years. I used for 25 years and never drew a sober breath, so to speak. Always high in one form or another. And so when you come in, you're like a pilgrim in a foreign land. You don't know how to live without drinking or drugging. And I had to learn from the very beginning. I had to change. But it was, it was people that when I came into our home group that gave me that sustenance that I needed. They gave me something that kept me going. One guy would give me $20 for cigarettes, and he would always slip it to me. Nobody ever knew it, because I had nothing. I was living in a barn over horses with no heat, no bathroom, and I thought I was living. Somebody pointed out to me, that's not living, that's alcoholism.
Yeah.
And so, I've gotten enough over the years. And for you and Trish and your sister have sustained me over the years, that you keep me when I need help or when I need that emotional support. And we just sat down the other day, just sitting for a few minutes, and I felt so much better because I explained to you what was going on in my life. And I was emotionally spent. And I walked out of there feeling a little bit more filled up. And that's, that's the whole thing here.
Everything. Yep.
To give it away.
Yep. And not do it alone.
And not do it alone. And I was a loner.
Yeah.
That was it.
Now, did you always say, I got it? Like, did you always thought you had it?
Yeah. That was my favorite expression was, I know.
Ooh.
I know.
Weird how that's circling back over
what
to
you're talking about.
And I've got to a point,
We're
I guess
having a new awakening.
emotional and sober is that I know very little about very little. And I'm okay with that now, which is really
freeing, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Freeing of,
Yeah.
I don't have to run the show and I don't know.
Right.
I think I know. But every time I think I know, I don't know.
Right,
It's very clear
I know everything.
that I don't know. Yeah. And she's in the phase of she's realizing in her own world
Goodness.
that she does know a lot, but that could be her greatest downfall. You have to unknow so that you can have a new experience.
Right.
And that's stuff that we learned in our side of this road. She's not in
I
recovery.
literally came from the opposite end.
Right.
I didn't realize how emotionally shut off I was, and I was like on logical mode for my whole life.
Right.
I didn't allow myself because I didn't feel safe enough to feel my feelings. So as soon as I felt something, I'm like, this is dangerous. How do I logically get out of it? And I would plan meticulously. Dude, one of the things I have is like, it's ridiculous.
It's a spreadsheet.
No. It's a spreadsheet on how to. I knew it. Oh yeah,
I knew it.
But like how to re-engineer something emotionally. Like that's the title. Like I went that level, not to feel my feelings.
Right.
Wow.
And I'm an expert at it. I'm so good at it. But now I'm in the feelings.
For the first
I don't know how to
time-
fucking function, man. I'm calling her every second. I'm like, I'm feeling this. What do I do?
I think
Wild.
part of
It's
emotional
weird.
sobriety is leaning into the feelings,
Yes.
feeling the pain. Somebody would say, I had somebody that when I was in early recovery, somebody died, and they said, just lean into the feelings, feel the feelings. And I said, that sounds terrible. That sounds
It
very
is
scary.
terrible.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, it's like the boogeyman. It's the unknown.
Right.
And anything that we do know of it is not enjoyable.
Right.
Right? Like if I'm sad, I don't like that one. I don't want to be more of that. If I feel a little angry, angry I kind of like gives me a high. But not anymore, right?
Right.
Like in the beginning I thrived in there because it was familiar. It was still chaos. It was all this stuff, you know? But yeah, as you get more well, you don't want to feel the negative things anymore, but we get to learn how that is emotional sobriety. And that's what we were going to talk about next. Like, what does it actually mean to you? Is it peace? Is it balance? For me, emotionally sober means I am willing to do anything to not pick up a drink or a drug. And whatever that means is what I'm willing to do. So for me to stay emotionally well, it's like there is no escaping it. I have
Right.
to feel it. You know, you can't heal feelings that you don't feel.
Right. I think you have
there's
to.
no way.
You
I
have
thought
to
we could.
evolve.
Yeah.
Your emotional recovery has to evolve with your physical recovery. You know, not drinking drugs for so much time, but you've got to have progress with that,
Yes.
or else you're going to be a miserable person. And I've seen it firsthand. And I was that person.
Yeah.
I think the first 8 or 9 years of my recovery, there was no recovery. I just did not drink and
So
drug.
it wasn't okay.
Right.
Because I remember when I drank, I tried to be spiritual, and that didn't work
Right.
either.
And my relapse was an emotional. It started as an emotional relapse where I was doing things and conducting things that caused me so much pain in myself that I had to use painkillers. That's why they call them painkillers, you know. And from a young age, at 13, any feeling starting at a young age using like that, I anesthetized every feeling I ever had. But looking back, when I was a kid, I did the same thing in different ways. And I was destined to be the way I am. It was how I was born. It's how I was raised. And, you know, that old, you know, I'm fucked up and now I'm trying to unfuck myself. And that's what recovery's been for me. Because I was really fucked up when I got here. And didn't quite know it, but other people pointed it out to me. You know, like I've shared this many times. Lynn, on my first anniversary, she was a teacher. We were fast friends, and she was a great woman. She passed away recently. And after it was at my first anniversary, she came up after the meeting and said, "Chuck, you know, you're very ill. You need to get extra help."
Oh.
I thought, Jesus. You know, it was something like I wanted to punch her in the face.
Yeah.
Because it hurt.
Mm.
But only for a few seconds, because I knew she was telling me the truth. And she cared about me, and she wanted me to get better. And she knew a way for me to do that. And I didn't get extra help right away, but it was always there. You know, that.
Yeah, you knew when
I'm
the
very
time
ill.
came. That's
Yeah.
where to go.
And
You
I
dig deeper.
needed, over years, emotional recovery has come with having a pro to help me sort it out. Growing up in a screwy family, 9 kids in the family, and 7 of the 9 of us are alcoholics and drug addicts,
Wow.
including my parents. So 9 of the 11 of us were alcoholics and drug addicts.
Wow.
You know, and I'm the only one who's ever, you know, and it had something, it was complicit in the death in most of my family, alcohol and drugs, you know, from suicides to overdoses and things like that. So, and for me, emotional sobriety is king, really, you know, and I try to hang out with people that are on that same path, you know, and that might be able to help me. Maybe I can help them, you know. It's just, it's something that very important to me. You know, I didn't even know what the topic was tonight.
Yeah.
You
No,
wanted
we're
to be
going on the fly.
surprised.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the best topic I could think of
Right.
when I think of you. You know, you do. You help so many other people stay well around you. Trish, what is emotional sobriety for you?
Being spiritually fit these days.
How do you do that?
Pray, not trying to control a situation, accepting things the way that they are.
Well,
Is that difficult? It is.
so now it's easier for you not being in recovery. Emotional sobriety, right? For you, it would be more emotional regulation.
Mhm.
right? So what does that look like for you? That might not be the best time to ask. She's
I know.
going through it.
All right. So
But like generally, when you feel emotionally regulated, what does your world look like? What does that mean to you?
well, prior to this past weekend, it was a lot of being honest with myself and open and willing to see in all honesty what is going on, what I'm feeling, what's making me feel that way, and like lay out all the pieces and like really have courage to just like look at it. And then from there, I would take one thing at a time and I would focus on how I can make maybe that piece a little bit better. And if I couldn't, I kind of just like leave it there and then just move to the next one. Whichever was easiest to start helping me feel better, I would work with that one and then go to the next. And then the big, heavier ones, I waited to the end because I knew if I did all the other pieces first, it would kind of like trickle down and start to help that, the heavier ones. And then when I got to the heavier ones, I had enough courage by that time to just really dive head first. And yeah.
Wow. Isn't it fascinating how her brain just naturally does that?
You know, I
It's
watched a
wild.
podcast where you said at 7 years old that you knew that something was different. You had something.
Yeah.
You didn't know quite what it was.
Right.
And I think everybody gets there at some point, you know, and you have it, but you have to figure it out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever,
And dive
it
into it.
evolves.
Yep.
Right.
Dive
it's-
into it, not be afraid of it, really just
And it's different for everybody. So that
Yeah.
diving head first and figuring it out, that's scary. Like,
I thought only alcoholics and drug addicts were emotionally insecure, and it's not. I know so many people that have never picked up a drink or a drug, and they have all the isms that we have, but they don't have an outlet. They don't have
Right. or the tools, which
the
makes
tools.
it right.
I have one guy. He is the vice chairman of Wells Fargo. Great guy, and I've been doing his work for years. And I had built something in his yard, and his father came down, and he was raving about this. I was over there for half an hour. He wanted me to meet his father, and he's going on, and Chuck, I can't believe you did this, and all this other stuff. And at the same time, I could see John, the guy, the son, fuming. And I was getting embarrassed, like, geez, don't say anything, you know. And then I realized what was happening. Here's a guy that went to UVA. He was part of Bear Stearns right out of college, and then is the vice chairman of Wells Fargo. And after his father left, I said, let me ask you, John, did your father ever say he was proud of you? He said, not once. So there are a lot of people that have those voids. And this guy's like 60 years old, and he's still hugely pissed off at his father.
Yeah.
But you know
Yeah.
something, over the last 5 years, he's dealt with it because
Wow.
he really had to have it pointed out to him.
oh, wow.
And when you could see it, you could finally see it.
Right.
And there's no
And-
timeline of when you can see it either.
Right. And
Yeah.
if you're
Wow.
a student of the human condition, which I think all of us are here, it's a lot of fun,
Oh,
especially recovery.
yep.
And I can diagnose people across the room,
you
know.
I love it.
just on, you know, they're probably bipolar and, you know, codependent.
Listen,
and
Chuck,
just
I
by
don't wanna
hearing them
know.
share for 3 minutes.
She's like, don't look at me.
Don't read me.
You know,
She's gonna
but
be like
I
this
think
the
the
rest of
fun
the
didn't
podcast.
happen in my life until I found out all these things and some of them are so ridiculous that they're funny.
Yes. Well, the
And
laughter that comes
Right.
after
Right.
is it makes it all okay.
yeah, when you know somebody's even worse than you, has a more severe case of this or whatever,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And I get help from everybody.
Oh,
You know, that you know, I've been around all this time. I don't know anything.
you've never been that way.
And
no. You're a sponge. You'll
that's why I
take-
like the newcomers,
Yeah.
because I hear things I haven't heard before.
Mm.
You know, the trite bullshit that a lot of people,
Yeah.
you know, you hear it in a meeting and they just go on and on. And it's the same thing. And I know this and I know that. And this is what they, you know, explaining to everybody. And I can't stand that.
No.
I you know, I want to know what's the solution. What do you know, how can you
And
help
then
somebody
what?
else?
Yeah. And then what? You know?
Don't
All
look
right,
at
so
me.
this brings us to our next thing. Yes,
Like,
no one's allowed to look at Tazy now. We're like, she's like, do they know? Do they know? Do they know I'm not okay?
Yeah.
We know.
I need a minute.
We know.
I think that's the most attractive trait anybody can have.
Is to laugh at themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just,
Yep.
you know,
Just
and
whatever.
one of the greatest traits I think a human being can have is humility.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that's the key to the highway.
yep. Which brings us to our next topic. So, are there moments where you look at your life where you can very much know that you are not emotionally sober? Is there any stories or moments where you really are like, holy shit, I'm not all right?
Yeah.
Anything come to mind?
Before I got sober or after I got sober?
It could be either, but where
Yeah.
you really saw like, oh man, you know, mine, the one I thought of is after I got sober.
Right.
Um,
I'd have to think about that.
all right, we'll
Let me
come
think
back
about
to you.
that.
So the one with, I don't even, you'll remember this. It was wild. I was a few years sober. I just had my first daughter. I was driving, right? I'm going down this long road. I think I just left a meeting.
I just thought of it now. Okay,
You know
go
which one I'm
ahead.
talking
Yeah.
So I end up going down this road. This car's right over here, right? She was there the whole time. I'm going down and down and down. And last second, this girl decided to cut me off. Okay. I was down this one long road this whole time. And now you're going to come out where I have to jam on my brakes. You know, I get nervous. I have the newborn in the back. I'm postpartum. I'm hormonal. I'm in recovery.
I remember those days.
I was like a little before 5 years sober. And I remember enraged, right? Like, I mean, the rage, because it's fear. So I was so nervous. And I pull up next to the light, right? And it's like, all right, it's fine, you know, until I look at the girl and I'm like, really, you know, and she does this. And I was like, snap.
And you're Italian, right?
Oh, fucking
yeah.
snapped.
Yeah.
It snapped. So now I'm like, cool. Now I'm gonna fucking follow you. You know. So I follow her. I'm driving on the shoulder, and I just got a hot cup of coffee from 7-Eleven. Okay, you know how fucking hot 7-Eleven
Yeah.
coffees are. They're scolding. Okay, got a medium. Roll down my window. Her window's down, and I just launched this thing right into her fucking car. And I was like, cool. As soon as I did that, I instantly wasn't mad anymore. I was like, all right, now I can turn around. And I turned around and I went back and I was like, there is something seriously fucking wrong here. There is no reason why I should ever allow somebody to get me to that level, because look at how much that, like, they have power over me.
Right.
You know, like,
Right.
it wasn't, I didn't crash. The baby was fine, right? But that fear came out, those hormones were there, and the rage just, and it was, I ended up sharing about it, and I knew how bad it was, but I didn't know how bad until everyone, when I told the story, was like, oh my God.
Very sober.
You know, like, whoa. I'm like, so I need to amend it and not do it again, you know? But it's times like that. My barometer is if I start to get really escalated.
Right.
That's when I know that I'm emotionally off somehow, and I have to, you know, kind of circle back to it. Trish, do you have anything that comes to mind?
I mean, nothing to top that.
Well, no, I think that's a really good thing that you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're probably better than
Yeah. The one that I remember was, it's only about 5 years ago. I was sober,
right?
Over
because
20
we're
years.
human. It's not.
and I was sitting at 7-Eleven, and a Brinks truck pulls up. And I've seen it there, you know, it comes a couple of times a week, and I might be there at the same time. And this old guy, he's right here, really old, skinny guy, gets out with this big revolver sticking out. Not like a new gun, a revolver sticking out, like the handle. And I'm thinking, I could grab this revolver, bop this guy on the head, push him in, take the truck, right? Bring it back to my house, empty it, right? And I took it right to the shootout.
Wow.
You know, and then I went, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
And it just shocked me. That
I have so many
I was
questions.
sitting there for 2.5, 3 minutes, thinking of this heist.
Really?
You know.
Yo, but can
And
you
then I went to my meeting.
Can you promise me one thing? If you're ever not well enough that you're going to do it, please fucking call me because I want to be there for it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
You're like,
would you
pew,
help?
pew.
You would probably help.
Yeah. But,
No.
what Trish said about
Yeah.
emotional sobriety is the spirituality.
Yeah, it's the
I
only
think
way
that's
we get
part
well.
and parcel with it.
Yep.
Or even comes before it, I think. For me, it came before.
The spirituality before the emotional sobriety.
Right.
100%. Me
Right.
too. It's
Yeah.
the only way I got well.
Right.
It's the only way I wasn't insane anymore. It's the only
Right.
way, I would say early on when I was spiritually fit, when I woke up in the morning and I did my meditation or my prayers or I read those inspirational little blurbs of these books, when I started my day not being the one in control and asking whatever it is to guide my day,
Right.
you could stab me in the leg and I'll
Right.
be like, oh, you missed your plate.
Right, right.
You do it when I'm not well, your eye is coming out.
Right.
Like it is so drastically different with the way that I respond that it is, thank God there's a solution that powerful that is more potent than what drinking did for
You know what
me.
it is? Spirituality used to scare the shit out of me.
Why?
I think it was, I went to Catholic school and it was kind of brutal back then. It wasn't fun. It wasn't, they tried to legislate how you feel or demagogue how you feel. And I didn't feel like that, and I think over the years that I heard in the rooms people's spirituality. And there was a topic meeting, and it was spirituality, and there was a woman who had apparently just had a baby. And this is a long time ago. And she said, spirituality to me is like when the first time I saw my baby discover water.
Wow.
And the look in the kid's eyes and the amazement. And I'm going, that makes a lot of sense to me, because spirituality is in the person, I think. It's deep inside. I was in my first year of recovery, and I went to an ashram, and up in South Fallsburg, it was City Yoga, and they're actually, what do you call it? Not swamis, but
Yogis,
yeah,
kind of.
yeah,
They were in a robe.
right, a lineage of that and all that.
Right.
And I was invited by this woman up there. I was just sober a year, and I was driven more by the flesh than the
Yeah,
spirit. You know what I mean? To go. And,
No, I don't. Explain.
Chuck, what does that mean?
I know.
Yeah. And
We saw the picture. We got it.
right. And the thing was that I was there a short time, and I was just amazed by it all. And it started my spiritual quest that weekend up in South Fallsburg, because I went to this place and they had, excuse me, it was beautiful, spectacular place, and halls and the music and sitars and all this stuff. And there were people of all. There were rabbis there. There were priests there. There was like 2,000 people. And they had something outside called Saints Walk. And it was a pond, and around it they had statues of Buddha, Jesus, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, and they believed in living saints, that these are people that were realized people that lived on this earth that spread this message. And that began to work for me,
Wow.
that it's in other people. It's people that have lived, not something I can't feel or touch or whatever. And they had a saying called Sad Gurunad Maharish Ki Jai, and I never forgot it.
Wow.
And this is like 36 years ago. And it means God dwells in you, within you, as you. And I went, all right, I can go with that. And that's, I think spiritual, what you see in other people is really yourself. And I think that's what recovery is. When you see somebody and you go, I relate to that, because that's me too.
Wow. It's the unity of everything.
Right. And that started my quest.
Right. It's just
A
your
lot of
beginning piece.
interruptions and
Right, but
waylaid and.
look
all
at
those
how
things.
that shifted everything for you.
Right.
It was the begin. It was that mustard seed, that beginning willingness, and then everything started to shift.
I don't know but anything that was said to me that I still think of today It registered, and I never let it go. I never forgot it.
Can you repeat it, the saying again?
God dwells within you as you.
You know what's wild? I haven't thought about this in a long time. Do you remember Angry Bob?
Yeah.
After I started having more and more kids, I was like, okay, I don't have time to sit and read my books and have my
Right.
stones and my coin, right? And I was just not okay because that one way I got spirituality wasn't working
Right.
anymore. And he took me to the side and he grabbed my arm and he was just talking to me. And he said, I want you to realize that every time you look into your daughter's eyes, that's God. That's your spirituality. And it
Right.
shifted for me then also, which is so wild
Right.
because you don't have to be in this room with
Right.
these things or this church or this. It made it, I could touch it. I could understand it. I could feel it. I could be in awe of it. And it is it.
You know, who doesn't have a spiritual moment during the day where you can hold the door open for somebody, which I love to do. You know, and if they don't say thank you, I don't get bothered by it. I just like to hold the door for people. And people will give you a wink or a nod, and you connect with them. Nothing has to be said. No thank you. They look at you and they nod their head. That's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough for me.
Because you have the awareness of what it really is. And that's, I think, what shifted it, you know?
Right.
Because you could just see someone and be like, cool, that guy winked at me, you know? But then you really you're in your present moment seeing that actual person. You're
But
there
without
for
recovery,
it.
I would have never realized how self-centered I was. And it was all about me and the inability to tell the truth, even to myself. I would make up unbelievable stories to myself and wallow in self-pity and all those things that are inherent with that.
Yeah.
And I think you have to clear the field in order to get to emotional sobriety. You know, that you have to deal with all this stuff. But
Yeah.
it doesn't happen quickly. It doesn't,
No.
you know.
I think it's good it doesn't happen quick.
No.
We want it to happen quick so we could just get past the pain. But the fact that it's slow, the fact that you get to a point, right? Tazia's she's gonna be 40. So
Oh,
for so long, right? You had what you were ready for. And then it's like, I would look at her and be like, she's made it. She copes well. She does this. She does that. She does all these
I
things,
hate
right?
those people, yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell why it was estranged? You know, I was like this hot mess drunk, and she's like,
Right.
"Namaste." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Namaste over the fucking here, because you're terrible." No, we have evolved so much in our relationship,
Oh yeah.
Right.
but it's amazing because sometimes it is slower. You're getting to a point now where you're learning what emotional regulation actually is when you get to feel it and keep it in balance and how to keep it okay and how to move past it and not push against it. Like all of that is just so like fascinating, you know, that we're not born knowing how to do that. You know, it took us to go to a room, which brings us to the next thing. Like how does relationships and friendships and the human interaction help us with our emotional sobriety? And mine is I could never do it by myself because I think it's one way and then someone else says something and you're like, oh, you know, like that woman at your first year. You're pretty fucked up. You're going to need a little extra help.
Yeah.
You know, your mind is blown because
Right.
we can't see the things that are too close to us to see.
Right.
It takes other people to really bring that in.
Right.
So,
You know, I
huge.
think of her because she came in the scaredy cat. She was, and just the ability to become who she's become is astounding. You know, the amazing woman that you all are, you know, and I don't know. I think the kick that I get is watching other people recover, you know, and people in and out of recovery, out of AA or some recovery program, you know, to watch that is a lot of fun, you know,
yeah,
and to
the
see
lights
people
turn
grow,
on. Yeah.
you know.
Yep. And I think it's so amazing because you've always been so good at guiding people to do that. Like I don't think you understand how much I would not be where I am if sober at all without you. And I mean that wholeheartedly. there were many times in the beginning years where I was going to drink and I knew I was going to drink and I was just in so much emotional pain that I wasn't going to be able to keep doing it. And you were the person who always came in my head, you know? And I'm like, I can't let down my sober dad, you know? Like, it was such a, having those relationships formed that are true relationships of people who genuinely care about your well-being. You really have taught us how to love others until they love themselves, because that's exactly what you've done for so many people.
You know, I never had kids, so, you know, I found my brothers and sisters and children, and you guys are like that to me, that I would like to think if I did have kids, I would be doing that today. I was totally incapable of, you know, the thought of having kids never entered my mind because of the self-centeredness and the selfishness and all that, you know, and fear, you know, but I do have that ability in me to help and guide people like I've been, you know. I was somebody's kid when I first came into recovery, you know. I was their project. I was, you know, all those things. You know, there was an old guy, Ed Masbach, an old guy, and he was the most humble man I've ever. His father was a rabbi at Temple Emmanuel in Manhattan, very wealthy, you know, Harvard, Yale, Andover, Harvard, Yale, all that stuff. And this guy, his accomplishments in his life, he could yell from the rooftops, and you'd never know it. And that's why I loved hanging out with him, because I was hoping some of that humility would rub off on me, you know, because I would go, hey, tell him about, you know, or I'd be saying something, say something that's kind of out of line, and he'd go, that's really not important, Chuck.
Oh,
You know?
right, but that's how you learned.
But
got
that's how
to
I
see.
learned it.
You got to see.
This guy had it all, and you know what? He was as much. He was probably one of the greatest mentors I've had in recovery. You know, that he was like my father. You know, and like I have now with Stewie. You know, and it's funny because most of the men that have been important in my life have been Jewish. He's the force for the last 25 years. That he's, like I said, he's been the North Star. I want to be like Stu and like Joe. And Stewie's the one, when things were really tough, he would grab me by the shoulder and said, you can't give up. Not for 5 seconds. He said, you can never give up. And he was talking about sobriety. But because if I give that up, everything else is gone.
Instant,
you know? And that's why I have to guard it, you know, or else everything goes, you know. And I remember I was leaving rehab, and a counselor said to me, he said, Chuck, you have it all. He said, between drugs, alcohol, women, sex, work, people pleasing. He said, if you don't take care of them all, the whole house of cards is going to come down. And it did, you know, like 9 years later, because I wasn't dealing with the whole thing. And, you know, but it takes time. You know, my relapse was an emotional relapse.
What was the biggest thing you learned from your relapse? Do you know?
You know, I quit drinking and drugging twice. When I first came into recovery, I was dying of alcoholism. And after that relapse, after eating one pill alcoholically, less than a year later, I ended up in a hospital, hooked up to machines, dying of drug addiction, you know, because my body had quit. And the biggest thing I learned was that if I pick up a drink or a drug again, it's going to end the same way. And that was the convincer they talk about.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, there's no other way out.
No.
There's not.
No. I'll take it till it kills me.
Yeah.
Or almost kills me. Or, you know.
Yeah. And why we don't have to suffer that way anymore.
Right.
Especially because, you know, there's this whole other world that is beyond everything, you know?
You know, when I was younger, in my teens and into my 20s, I had a golden career. I had the affections of some really nice women. I had money in the bank. And yet I wanted to die on a daily basis. And trying to kill myself on a daily basis, you know, with lethal doses of pills. And, you know, it just,
That was never what was going to bring the happy.
No.
But how many people think that's going to bring the happy? That's what's wild, you know, because it's running from, I don't want to feel this. This will make me feel like this, like that. You know,
that-
that
when I
shot,
get
I'll
there.
spike up. Right.
Yeah.
It's that carrot that you're chasing forever.
Right.
Trish, what about for you? Do you have any, like, how do your relationships play a part in keeping you emotionally balanced and well? Is there anything different for you?
I'm definitely more vocal now of my feelings. And if things get too stressful, I know to pause, walk away from that situation. When I have my feelings together, when I really reach out to my support group to give me a different perspective, give myself time, and then come back and have a calm conversation. Because before it would be like, F you don't understand how I'm feeling, and just screaming and just, stomping my feet. But now it's just, I can just chill the fuck out. And
Can you make that a sticker?
yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I really learn silence is golden. That's it. I don't have to respond anymore to everything.
Yeah, and to not have to defend or, oh my
Yeah.
God, the noise
Mhm.
of it all. So Taze, was there any situation that you've seen yourself handle where like emotionally you've been able to handle it better?
Handle it better. This is difficult. Because
I think Saturday you handled it great.
oh my God. If you want to ask me the opposite question, I can go there. Okay.
Should we tell them about
Ready?
Saturday?
Yes, I'm gonna go there. Okay. I had a temporary lapse in judgment.
Moment
Is
of
what-
insanity,
is what
really.
we're gonna call it.
Yeah.
I'm going through a breakup and pretty much just grieving the past 14 years of my life
Right.
in one shot. There's 2 dogs in there, 3 dogs in there, 2 relationships. I'm not even going to go any further. But I had a moment. I just went to go pick up dinner at this restaurant the other day. It's like he's not getting ready, you know.
Yeah.
Something's coming.
And it took them a minute to make my meal. So I was like, okay, I'll have my newfound delicious drink that I love so much. But the place that I usually have it at is in a friggin' flute glass. This one comes out in a friggin' like white wine glass. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to chug this quick because then by the time my food will come out, right? Yeah, no. By the time I finished that, I met 2 very nice gentlemen sitting next to me. Older, like we had a lot in common. I'm like, you guys are awesome. They're like, you want another one? I'm like, yes. So, of course, I'm sitting down the whole time. I didn't eat one thing all day. And I'm like, this is great combo. You want another one? I'm like, yes. I'm on my 3rd white wine glass of a gin drink. And I'm like, I blacked out.
Yeah.
I barely remember calling her to tell some very beautiful soul of a bartender to tell her that I'm okay to sleep in my car. She's like, no, I don't want you
That's
to
my
drive.
girl.
I'm like,
I know.
I'm like, I'm not going to drive. I just want to go to sleep. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And I'm pushing everybody out of my car, like horizontal, like pushing them. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I have not been that way in probably over 15 years.
Right.
I've
Of
never seen her that
15
way.
years of my life. And I don't even think I got that bad.
No.
Maybe at a Halloween party here and then, but it was not to this level. So I remembered to call you and I remembered where I was. I remembered all the details. I knew I didn't want to drive and I wasn't going to. I knew to call you and I did. I knew I just wanted to sleep in my car and okay, fine, I'll come home with you, but I'm not going to forget my sweaters. I have like 10 sweaters in my car just from outfit changes throughout the day.
I'm not kidding. This was her getting out of the car. Okay.
No,
She can't stand. Okay. She's grabbing every single thing she's ever owned, apparently.
I won't leave the sweaters,
Pulling it
man. I
out.
love them.
She's now trying to walk to my car. She's got a scarf dangling from her legs. She starts tripping on the scarf. I'm like, just get in the fucking car. And you know what, Chuck? It was the first time in my life that I got to truly see myself and what she felt like for years.
Right.
It was,
Saw the reflection.
It was the first time it was the opposite ever.
you know, I'm going to be completely honest. My brain will go to, you could have a drink. It does. It still does. You could have one drink, right? I got to see that night
Not one. It's
what
never
that
one.
idea will actually do to my world. And like
Right.
what you said before, I will lose absolutely everything because that was actually one of my good nights was shit like
Right.
that.
I'd
I
say,
got
well,
home
what
safe.
was
I
so
knew
bad
where I
about
was.
that?
Right?
Oh my God, I was so embarrassed. I was like,
She was
trying
like,
to sleep
really-
on
See, I
her
would have
rock
drove.
driveway.
I wouldn't have called anybody.
Right.
I would have been arrested.
And that's the difference.
And that's the
Right.
difference.
So now you have a normal
You
person.
had something
Mhm.
there
Yes.
enough to even a black to call
True.
somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
and you got to give yourself a break. You were talking about all the things that have led up to that night.
And feeling my feelings for the first time deeper
Right.
at any level.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't handle this. But I thought I was just having fun.
you know, any normal person would want to anesthetize those feelings.
Right.
You know, and I did it from when I was a kid on, and I wish I could do that now.
Yeah.
You know, just there's some nights I would love to just go out and get whacked out of my fucking mind for one night. Just completely disconnect and get high as fuck like I used to. You know?
It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Well, that's the thing. We
Well,
play
thank
it
you. That story
forward.
really helped me.
And that's what
Yeah.
it is. No, we
Oh,
play it
grateful.
forward, and it's like, yo,
Yeah.
the difference of me and Tasia, me being alcoholic, her being normal, right? She has this emotional situation where she didn't handle something as well as she normally would when she's regulated.
Right.
I would have that night over and,
And
over
over.
and over. She's like, I'm not going to do that ever again. And you know what? She's probably right.
Right.
I couldn't go more than a week and a half without it happening again.
Right.
And that's the difference.
And that's why you have to give yourself a break. You needed that, you know, for a number of different reasons. Maybe you don't even know what they are now, but you did. You know, it's like,
That's why I was like super embarrassed and I was never going to tell anybody. And everybody, like, I kind of secretly mentioned it too. They're like, that's it? I'm like, what do you mean that's it? I'm so embarrassed.
Right.
I don't want anybody to know ever. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm human. Oh, okay, I can let myself like just feel something for a second. Not the best way. Fine.
Yeah. The highlight, though, was when Skylar came down the stairs. She's like, Aunt Titi, you slept in your jeans? It was like a falling.
yeah, the kids always call you out.
Yeah.
You know,
Right?
they're
I was like, oh, she
Jesus.
did. She also slept on the rocks outside in the driveway for 4 minutes before I hoisted her the fuck up.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I think
No.
it takes a lot of humility to tell that story. You know, it really
You're
does.
human.
That it's what you did.
Just
It's like,
going through it, man.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And we're not all well on the same day. So Chuck,
Thank
do you have
God.
a story where you handled something very well, where you were actually like, holy crap, that was me?
Do a little like
It kind of happens every day. You
yeah?
know, that
Little
I-
pieces?
Yeah,
Yes.
you know, I have this thing where at the end of the day, I take this inventory, like I've learned, and it's really short and sweet. And it is, did I drink or drug today? Did I hurt myself or did I hurt another human being? And if I can say no to those three things, I've had a great day. Because my main thing is not to have anybody mad at me, you know, through my actions, and don't hurt myself, which I was a pro at, you know.
Yeah.
It's the more I hurt myself, that's all it is, you know. That
those are beautiful questions.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but it's not simple.
No.
And it's like way deeper than it sounds, but you feel it.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
You know what the difference was? When I first got sober, it was all about, did I hurt anybody's feelings? Did I hurt you? Did I upset you? Did I act really bad? It was always about everything else. And then I got emotionally sober and I started to see, did I hurt myself
Right.
in some way? Was I over anxious? Did I torture myself over a past conversation? Or like the freedom that you get with emotional sobriety on top of recovery, that's what it's about.
Right.
That's why it's like, it's worth everything in this world that I would still do anything to keep it.
Yeah.
You know, because I want to think about myself but not in that old way.
Right.
In the way of, are you still taking care of you also, though? You know, that was never,
You know what it is?
I was
that
last
part
on the
about
totem pole.
Not hurting other people. It's kind of like redemption for me, because you don't hear that word a lot in recovery because it's more of a,
right.
religious thing. But I hurt so many people over the years, and even in recovery. And I want to redeem and the main thing about it, don't do it again. Don't keep doing it. And that's what I've been able to do, is to stop doing the things that hurts people and myself, and I'm aware of them, because I looking back on my relapse, that what it was all about, that I was hurting other people and I was still hurting myself. And, that's, I'm all better now.
Yeah.
Great list.
He's like, I'm cured.
Right. And
Are
like
you?
Taza, the simpler I can make things in my life, like those 3 questions, the easier my life is. It's not easy getting to that point, but
Right.
it
I
really
actually
is.
just started my nightly inventory of my day,
Right.
and it's beautiful to fall asleep to, and
Right.
makes
In
you
a
feel
world today where everybody's angry,
Mhm.
I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
I see them all the time, every day, and I see people going in 7-Eleven, that I go to 5 times a day for coffee
Oh, yeah.
at 9, 11,
Yeah.
3 o'clock, but
so
somebody's
It's
picking
bad.
up
It's
alcohol,
bad.
and a lot of it,
Uh-huh.
and people reek of alcohol, and,
Yeah.
and, I'm grateful that's not me, but it was me.
And it can be.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just an angry, vindictive, eye for an eye person, that if you did me wrong, I'm going to get you. You're not even going to know it, but I'm going to get you. And that started from when I was a kid. Like my brothers beat the shit out of me because I was the youngest. My brother Eddie especially. So one time I went outside and into the shed and his bicycle, and I was the only one in the family could use a screwdriver. So I dismantled his bicycle and I put it all back together, just hanging together, with no screws. So when he grabbed it, it fell apart. Right?
That's so
And-
intricate. That's
right.
amazing.
And he beat the shit out of me for it. But I got back at him. This is going to hurt, but I'm going to do it anyhow.
And it's,
And
yeah.
that's my life,
Yeah.
I think, we were talking about spirituality and all that stuff. I think it's innate in people. I think most everybody has it. Some people I think are just can't get there. But I don't think this is stuff, but it's stuff that really, it can be opened up, but it can't be taught, I don't think. I think it's in us, and you got to
Yes.
bring it out.
Yep.
With the help of other people and
Yeah, which is quieting the noise long enough to let it out. And I
Right.
think that's why a lot of drug addiction, alcoholism, overeating, all the programs, right?
right.
It's because that quieted our noise, but it kept making more noise,
right. Right.
But now being in recovery, and we've talked about it before, of like not being afraid to just sit and I would never be able to be home by myself, ever. I was never home, ever. It was the worst place to be.
I
it
gotta
was
go.
because I was there.
I would
it
always
wasn't.
say, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
I gotta go.
I gotta go. And to be able to sit with myself where I'm like, oh my God, it is one of the best gifts. And it only happens because we get
Right.
well,
there are many
if I'm not
nights
well,
that
that
I would
noise
say,
comes back.
I'm not gonna go out. I'm not gonna go out tonight. 10 o'clock, I'm in the shower. I'm gonna have one drink. I close the bar.
Yeah.
And that famous, I'm gonna save one line for tomorrow. That never happened either.
No.
And that's just how it went, night after night after night, and I couldn't stop it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It's wild. Oh, well, I'm so glad that that we're more towards the well than the not well so far. And then, Tasia brought something up which came about yesterday at our board meeting for our nonprofit. And and I haven't thought about this in a really long time. And, you know, you being such an important person in my life, you know, Chuck has literally given me such gifts in this world. You know, I remember you gave me your baby rattle, right? And the ring from your mom and stuff.
Mhm.
And I, you know, we were talking yesterday, and
Now I'm gonna cry.
and I said, I was like, you know, Chuck's coming on this podcast. I never prep the way I prepped for this. I mean, I care so deeply about this. And I went to say to Tay something, and she just started talking. And she told me about a story, and I think you should say it because it was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, I don't know. It popped in my head of one time Christina got in a really bad car accident, and she had her graduation ring on, of which they almost couldn't get it off and almost had to cut off her finger. It was bad.
Not my finger, the ring.
Oh, God. Cut the ring off. That's what I meant. Well, anyway, they saved the ring and the finger.
Yeah.
But because that experience freaked her out so much, and she just saw that ring as a symbol. So she actually gave it to me, and she's like, "Can you hold on to this ring until I get sober?" And I did. I kept it. I kept it for almost 15 years. And I have it
I just got.
in my pocket.
I know.
Here it is.
Oh my God.
And I have not had it since,
Yeah.
which is so crazy to me that this is literally my high school ring. Oh my God. And I just saw what's on it. And I picked out, right? You could pick out all the different designs and your things. And there are 2 hearts on here, and it says friends. And I have not seen this since I gave it to her before I got sober.
Really?
And I want to give it to you to thank you for truly being such an amazing part of my life and being the reason, one of the biggest reasons why I'm sober. So I couldn't picture a better person to give this ring to. And it's so crazy that it literally has 2 hearts with friends on it. I would be honored to give it to you. So yeah, so that's
But you know,
pretty
the
crazy.
thing is that I think the connection that me and her have is that I saw her when she walked in the door. I saw her and myself and her, just scared, frightened, got it together, but really fucked up. And I can't say over all these years how proud I am. You know, that you've been somebody that came from just almost killing yourself, drinking and drugging, to having a family and a husband and love and nurturing and living in society, you know, and a business
Not in handcuffs.
owner. And like, I am so proud of you guys that what you've done here, you know, because, you know, Stewie once said to me, if you've been given this gift we've been given, and he said, and you don't give it away, you're fucked. And I really believe that.
It was such an honor to have you on, Chuck. That's definitely
Yeah.
not going to probably fit any of those fingers. You could
That's
try.
That's unbelievable.
Oh my God, wild. All right, so we are so excited to invite you guys back for next week. We are going to be having our men series continue with a man who is a father in recovery, has 5 kids. He's super hot, over 10 years sober. My husband, James.
I was gonna say, I wonder who he is.
My son.
Right? Your other son. So stay tuned for that episode. We're really excited to see how, we could share with the world how we navigate running a household and kids running around. It should be a really interesting episode. So stay tuned. And thank you again so much, Chuck, for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thank
We
you.
love
Thank you
you.
for everything.
you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.